wondered why some people seem drawn to you in ways even you can't explain? Is it your smile, your voice, or is there something deeper, something invisible yet undeniable that pulls others in? If you've ever felt confused about why people fall for you, or if you've ever doubted your own worth, you need to stay until the very end of this video, because the real reasons people fall in love with you are not on the surface. They're not about perfection. They're about presence. Drop a comment and share. What's something people often say they love about you, but you never quite believed it yourself? In a world obsessed with looks, achievements, and social status, Buddhist wisdom invites us into something far more profound. Love, in its truest form, is not transactional. It is recognition. It is one soul quietly acknowledging another. So when someone truly falls in love with you, not with the mask you wear, not with the role you play, but with you, what is it they're really seeing? The first deep reason people fall in love with you is because of your presence. Not the kind of presence that walks into a room loud and flashy, but the kind of presence that is quiet, grounding, and deeply felt. You make people feel seen without demanding anything in return. You listen, not to reply, but to understand. And when you sit with someone, even in silence, they feel held. Buddha taught that mindfulness is not just something we practice on a cushion. It is a way of being. And when your presence is mindful, it carries the quality of home. You're not trying to fix. You're not trying to impress. You're just there, fully. That kind of presence is magnetic. In a world full of noise, when you become a moment of peace, people fall in love with you because when they're near you, they remember how to breathe. But here's the thing, you don't always notice this about yourself, because to you it's natural. You're just being. You've spent so long holding space for others, offering calm when there's chaos, being the anchor when others are adrift, that you've forgotten what a rare gift that is. You think it's nothing. But to the person who has never been truly listened to, it is everything. To the person who has never felt safe enough to be themselves, you are freedom. The second deep reason people fall in love with you is your ability to carry emotional depth without judgment. Buddhist teachings remind us that compassion is the ability to hold suffering without turning away. You don't need people to be perfect. You don't run from their darkness. In fact, you often see the parts of them they're ashamed of, and instead of recoiling, you lean in, you accept, you soothe, and in doing so, you create a sacred space where healing begins. This emotional depth doesn't come from ease, it comes from your own journey, from the heartbreaks you've endured, from the losses that have shaped you, from the nights you sat with your own pain and chose to understand it rather than numb it. That kind of resilience creates a soft strength, and people feel it, even if they can't name it. It's in the way you hold their tears without trying to stop them. It's in the way you validate their feelings without rushing to make it better. You don't offer shallow positivity. You offer truth, presence, a knowing that says, you don't have to hide here. And because of this, people fall in love with you, not just romantically, but soulfully. They feel safe showing you their shadows, and in your light, those shadows no longer feel shameful. They feel human. But this depth can also make you a target for those who are not ready to hold it. People may be drawn to your energy but not respect your boundaries. They may admire your compassion but fail to give it in return. And this can hurt, because you're not just giving love, you're revealing your essence. And when that isn't honored, it stings deeper than words can say. That's why the third deep reason people fall in love with you is also the most important: your authenticity. You're not trying to be liked, you're trying to be real. You've come to understand that love born from performance is not love, it's approval. And you've let go of the need to constantly explain yourself to people who don't want to understand. This authenticity is rooted in something spiritual. It's the embodiment of the Buddhist teaching of right view. You see life clearly. You know that everything is impermanent, including praise and rejection. So you show up as you are, not as a curated version of who you think you should be. You laugh when you're joyful, cry when you're overwhelmed, and say no when your soul says no. This kind of truth is rare, and yes, it may scare some people, but to others, it is the reason they fall for you. Because in your honesty, they see a glimpse of what they too long to become: free, whole, unapologetically human. And still, you may doubt this in yourself. You may question whether being authentic is too much or not enough. But I'm here to remind you your authenticity is your essence. It's not something to be hidden, it's something to be honored. And those who fall in love with you for it, they are the ones worth keeping. So let's take a moment to reflect. How many times have you felt unlovable because you weren't loud enough, beautiful enough, accomplished enough? How many times have you tried to change yourself just to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be? Buddhist wisdom tells us that suffering often arises from trying to become something we're not. But love, true love, arises when we remember who we are. You don't need to be extraordinary to be loved. You need to be real. You don't need to be perfect to be magnetic. You need to be present. And you don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be enough for yourself. Because when you are, your energy shifts. You no longer chase love and you attract it. You no longer beg for validation. You embody it. And the love that finds you in this space, it's not just romance. It's resonance. It's the kind of love that stays, that sees you, that honors you. In the comments, I want you to write one quality about yourself that you're learning to love, even if it feels small, especially if it feels small, because that's where the transformation begins, not in becoming someone else, but in coming home to yourself. There's a kind of magic that happens when you stop chasing people and start sitting with yourself. You realize that your value was never meant to be proven. It was meant to be remembered. You begin to notice how people lean in when you're simply being. You begin to feel how your energy shifts when you stop performing and start embodying. That shift, that sacred return to self, is what turns attraction into connection, and connection into love. People fall in love with you because you reflect something timeless within them. Not a persona, but a presence. Not a checklist, but a feeling. A space where they are not judged, not edited, not tolerated, but accepted. Where the mask can fall, where the silence can speak. And in your company, they realize they've come home, not to a place, but to a person. This is not about charm. This is about truth. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, the most precious gift we can offer anyone is our presence, not our perfection, not our performance, our presence. You may never fully see what you give others, but in your stillness, they find shelter. In your words, they find warmth. In your authenticity, they find something sacred, a mirror, a teacher, a sanctuary. And yet, sometimes, you might feel like you're hard to love, that your depth is too much, that your honesty makes people uncomfortable, that your silence is misread as distance. But what if all those things are exactly what make people fall for you? What if it's not that you're hard to love, but that you're not meant for shallow waters? What if people fall in love with you, not because you make life easier, but because you make it real? There's a story in Buddhist lore of a monk who never spoke much. He didn't preach, didn't lecture, didn't try to convince anyone. He simply walked the path, mindfully, gently, with kindness in every step. And those who met him felt something shift, a peace, a remembering, a clarity. This monk didn't give advice, he gave presence. And that was enough to change lives. You, too, carry that quiet medicine. You, too, shift things just by being. You may never know how many people found light because of your calm. How many hearts stayed soft because of your kindness? How many storms passed gently because of your steadiness? This isn't about inflating your ego. This is about honoring your essence, about realizing that you don't need to become anyone else to be loved deeply. You only need to stop hiding who you already are. People fall in love with you because you carry your story in a way that doesn't demand sympathy but invites understanding, because your laughter has depth, because your silence is alive, because you don't rush to fill the space, because you make space sacred. And when you love with your whole being, fully, freely, fiercely, and maybe you've been hurt because of that. Maybe your heart has been taken for granted, your gentleness mistaken for weakness, your honesty met with silence. But none of that means you are broken. It means you are rare. And it means that those who truly see you see something they've longed for their entire lives. Buddhism teaches us to see clearly not through the lens of attachment, but through the lens of truth. And the truth is, when someone falls in love with you, really falls, they're falling into their own reflection, into the version of themselves they feel most safe, most alive, most free to be. You awaken something inside them, not because you try, but because you are. So the next time someone says, "There's just something about you," don't dismiss it, don't shrink, don't brush it off. Smile gently, and know it's not a trick, it's a truth. They're seeing you, the you that is rooted in presence, the you that is rich with compassion, the you that dares to be real in a world that celebrates the fake. And yes, not everyone will love you that way. Not everyone is ready. But those who are, they'll love you in a way that doesn't require you to explain, to perform, to earn. They'll love you as a practice, not a possession, as a path, not a project. They'll love you not because you complete them, but because with you, they remember they were never incomplete. So breathe and soften. You don't need to overthink how you show up. You don't need to analyze how others see you. Just be present, be kind, be honest, be you. That's the medicine. That's the magnet. That's the miracle. And in that stillness, let yourself receive what you so often give grace, attention, reverence, care. Let yourself be loved, truly, deeply, quietly, for all that you are, for all that you've been, and for the light you carry without even trying. Before this video ends, leave a comment below and share what's one part of you you're learning to embrace. Even if the world never applauds it, let's make this space a mirror for each other and for ourselves. The love you're looking for may already be looking at you.